All right, we're going to go ahead and get this meeting called to order. If we'd have roll call, please.
Bray,
Here.
Loveland,
Here.
Wyatt,
Here.
Renfro,
Here.
Benarski Lynch, Harris here, Lazinski.
Here. If you'd stand and join us to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, anything need to be added to the agenda? If not, a motion to approve the agenda?
I'm sorry.
Anything need to be added to the
No.
agenda? How about a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll approve.
Do we have a second? Further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed, agenda is passed. In your packet, you got the consent agenda items with the February 11th meeting, February 24th, the sheriff's report, zoning administrator's report, DPW report, and the zoning enforcement. The sheriff's report, I can just let you know that there was a few more arrests than usual. Don't know what the particulars are, but they've been, remained pretty busy. Had a total of 9 accidents last month. I'm sorry? Oh, okay, sorry. The Planning Commission did meet last month. They'll be meeting again next week. Our DPW has still been very busy with Miss Diggs. They're putting in line everywhere. I understand they hit a line last night. And so another one of those wonderful things, but they've been staying busy. Everybody should be happy. At some point in time, everybody's going to have fiber optics, is my understanding, but we'll see. Other than that, not much out of the ordinary. Motion to accept the consent agenda items.
I will support.
Well, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
All right, and support? Scott?
I will support Dale,
Okay.
sorry.
All right, further questions?
Schools hasn't been put on the sheriff's report yet. Like, they're making rounds.
I'm sorry.
No
Yeah,
worries. I just want to see how it all shakes out.
yeah. I'll get that on there. Okay, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Margie? Probably not pull it towards you. There you go.
Okay, good. Oh, I'm sorry I missed you guys last month, but sometimes I just feel like I need a clone and I just can't always make them all, but I try. A couple of things. There are several things that happen throughout the year that commissioners get to go to that are a lot of fun. And one of the things that I did this week was I went to the Student Statesmanship Institute, and they provided a I guess I would say a workshop for high school students on legislature. And so we got to go as commissioners and other leaders in the community, and they handed us something and we got to argue it. Sometimes we were arguing things we don't believe in, and some things we were arguing that we do believe in, but you don't know what you're going to get. It gets assigned to you. And we had the best time. Those students were so receptive and so forthcoming. It was amazing to watch their growth in just a matter of a couple of hours. So that was a really fun thing that I got to do this week. And I think it's a worthwhile thing for anybody who has the opportunity to join that program and send their kids to it, because there was a lot of learning and growth that occurred that day. And then another thing that I did was on Saturday, we had the annual Beer Fest. And I know that sounds a little bit weird, but that Beer Fest supplies all of the premiums for the youth that attend the fair and show their steers or their quilting or whatever project they happen to be doing. And we had record attendance this year. Went off without a hitch. Entertainment included a set of dueling pianos, which was very entertaining. But those are just a couple of the things that we get to do that are fun. Then there's the things that we do that aren't so much fun, like listen about the roads. We know they're terrible. And we have been consistently reporting back to JDOT. And you can do this as well, just by picking up the phone and saying, hey, there's a rim buster on Bone Road between Maudy and Sarasi Lake Road. And they have, if it's a rim buster, they usually can get out within a few days. But if it's just rough road, they're going to wait until the frost is out and try and get to repairing more of those roads so they can do it properly. Also, we only have a few more weeks left for tree trimming. So on these roads that have a lot of canopy hanging over them, or if you see a lot of dead branches that are just kind of hanging, please call the road commission, because we can only cut tree. There's a given window that we can cut trees in. And so that ends at the end of March and doesn't pick up again until October because of things like white oak disease and those sorts of things. So if you see any canopy or anything, you know that a road, maybe Comball Road, I noticed when I went down, it had a lot of branches that had fallen. So I reported that road for them to take a look at and see if they can't trim that up and trim that back so that you're not driving down the road and have a big old branch fall on you. So please feel free to call the road commission with those two things, especially branches and trees. In the next 2 weeks, they have to get them out of there because they won't be able to cut then before October at the end of this month. So the Jackson County Conservation District is having their annual tree sale. That'll be ending very soon, but you can go to Jackson County Conservation District. They have a number of great products. I think the prices are pretty reasonable in comparison to prices that I've looked at, and you can order your trees or bushes, and they have native trees and quite a large variety. So if you take a few moments and look at that, if you have any planting that you plan to do, perhaps they can help you out with that. As to answer your question about IT, the bead project that we were working on has gone very well. We were able to that had kind of blanketed this area. So other companies like Comcast and MEC weren't able to come in, and they weren't able to get funding. So we challenged the number of homes that Mercury could actually deliver internet service to, and we were able to accomplish about 90% coverage. So now you'll be able to, from MEC, you see the ones that say MEC, that's Midwest Energy and Communications. Frontier, 123Net, and Comcast are all looking to put more rural reception for those of us who aren't able to get good internet service. So it's something you can think about. And then last thing I wanted to talk to you about is the airport. There's a lot of things that happen at the airport that we don't necessarily think, or the general public, and myself included until I became a county board member. You know, why did we really need an airport? Well, here's just a few statistics. It's consistently growing. We have 15 people on our wait list for hangars, which is amazing because as we grow, that brings more business into Jackson County. This year, we've had approximately 42,000 takeoffs and landings at Jackson County Airport. It provides 97 jobs. The community impact this year was approximately $48.6 million that we brought into the county. Um, And also, we're, have two new charter aircraft that are coming to Jackson County. So in the near future, our goal is for you to not have to drive and leave your car in Detroit or Lansing or Toledo or wherever your favorite airport is. You'll be able to go to Jackson, pick up a charter plane and fly to that location. So those are some things that are happening in the county right now. Also, our next board meeting is next Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock. Thank you.
Thanks, Margie. Okay, next item is our bills. Any questions for Gail?
I say there's nothing out of the ordinary this month, so.
I guess while we're on the bills, BSNA, we're gonna be going live before the end of the month on the cemetery. I
No.
just got or
No, they want to start talking.
is that what it is?
Yes,
Okay. I
and then
thought
the
it was-
implementation will be in August, end of
Okay.
August.
Okay, good. So that's taking place, and just kind of give you guys a heads up, and I don't know the truth behind it all, but BSNA is moving towards a cloud-based platform. So just keep that in the back of your minds, which if that happens at some point in the near future, the expense for that is rather large. My understanding, it's about 3 times they're charging about 3 times the cost of what they're charging presently, is my understanding. So it'll go up significantly. Don't know the reasoning behind it. I'm not an IT specialist, but I caught that at our supervisors meeting they were discussing. Correct. But unfortunately, in the state of Michigan, they are the only one currently able to operate within the municipalities the way they do in the state of Michigan. But when they go to this cloud-based system, there is another company that's trying to move in. I kind of learned a lot about VC3 and BSNA. They were a happily married couple, I guess is the best way to put it. And hence they kind of formed a bit of a monopoly, I guess is the best way to put it. But there are some things happening to maybe change that. So I just wanted to let you know.
We haven't paid for the new service.
The server, no, we haven't yet. No. Because I want to find out, I mean, if the expense is going to last us 5 years, it's one thing, but if it's going to last us 2 years, it's another thing.
You said we're supposed to see them this week or next week?
In the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, we're good.
Okay. Anybody have questions or want to make a motion with the bill or regarding the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the general fund bills in the amount of $72,310.90 and the allocated fire fund amount in the amount of $23,163.04.
I'll
Yeah.
support.
We have motion and support. Further questions for Gail? Roll call.
Loveland,
Yes.
Bray,
Yes.
Wyant, Renfro, Benarski Lynch, Harris, yes. Lizinski,
Yes. Tom?
Okay, because of audit going on this week, along with everything else happening, I don't have an actual treasurer's report in front of you or for you. They have some of the information that I needed in order to be able to put that together. And so, there's no physical treasurer's report. Just to let everyone know, property tax collection ended on February 28th. We went what is called live with the county last night, which means that we settled, and we have to do this every year, basically settling our collection to the penny with the county. And now anyone that has not paid their taxes by February 28th will have to go to the county treasurer's office in order to pay them. Another thing that's happened over the last few years is any of the personal properties that the county used to collect for the townships that went delinquent, we are now having to collect those ourselves. And so what happens with properties such as Andover and Faholo Park, those properties there, all during tax collection, they're called real property. Once they go delinquent, now they're called personal property. So any of those properties in those particular locations that have not gotten paid by February 28th, we are still collecting them here. And Tammy was able to get that part of the tax collection database transferred over into our delinquent property tax database today. And so we're all ready to go with collection of those. I guess that's probably pretty much what I have to talk about today. Again, audit was this week, and so that'll be finishing up tomorrow.
Any questions for Tom? Okay. Move along to correspondence. We have a letter from Sylvan Township. They're going through a master plan update. And when you go through a master plan update, you have to notify your surrounding border communities. So we've been notified. There's a public hearing for anybody that would like to attend March 25th at 7 o'clock at their hall there on Michigan Avenue. I'm sorry, Scott, it's yours that was causing. Can you push yours towards the end a little bit? I don't know what something transpired with them, but we'll figure it out. That's all I had. Gail, did you have any correspondence?
No.
Okay. All right, time of the meeting where we have anybody that would like to address the board regarding agenda items, we'll give you 2 minutes. Going once, going twice. Gone. Okay, we'll move right into discussion with building and the ARPA update. Scott, did you want to?
Sorry, I'm having to use 2 glasses now. I'm not used to that, so I can't see out of either one of them. So you got the bid that we got. We've been working on the bid for the building. Again, this doesn't mean that we have to do it. This is finish the last part so that we can put a complete bid together. The only part that we didn't do was the senior,
Civil engineer.
civil, and we would be that through the contractor, would be them to deal that. So you have the package for what the individual pieces are. It's all packaged for us, and altogether it is make sure I'm right here. $22,000. And I know you had asked earlier how much we had spent. I sent that to you, but I apologize now, I can't remember. Yeah. And that was for both redoing the building earlier and to do this building. And as we've done, I passed along some that Sarah had taken some pictures on the building on election day when we actually had to shut down the office to be able to do the elections and everything through there. And so there's some pictures there. Sorry. So that has all the information there. I don't know if anybody has any other questions. I know that we've been working, how long would we buy that that property to do that? That was,
We bought the property 15 years ago.
yeah, to do this.
And if I remember correctly, we went through this whole process. We did contract with, 20 years ago with Adams Building Contractors to do the same process. And so exactly what their fee was at that time, but they did a very good job of putting everything together and working with contractors and getting bids. And so if it's something we're going to move forward with, we might as well move forward with the process. But if we're going to delay it for a little longer, whatever everybody wants to do.
I'd like to move forward and I'd like to put it for $24,000 through architects.
22,000, Scott, or 24?
Sorry,
22,000.
22,000, yeah, sorry.
So you're making that a motion?
Yes.
Does Scott have any support?
I'll support it.
Okay, we got a motion and support. Further questions? Discussion?
I still have a hard time with the amount of money that we've already spent for basically trying to do the same thing. I just want to make sure that we also still have funds available. This is just a project to get all of this together, right? Not saying that we're moving forward. But we still have repairs to do here. Either way, if we maintain and stay at this building or if the seniors are here. So just want to make sure that our funds are available to make sure that we can do things that we know we need to do here as well.
Those are already budgeted in this year's budget to do the roof and the bathroom.
In actuality, if you wanted to look at it this way, if the interest that has been collected on the ARPA funds would cover this,
Oh, yeah.
if you want to look at it that way.
You guys got any questions, thoughts? Not strictly, we can use it in a lot of different directions. And ultimately, it ended up that we spent enough funds over the course of whenever we got the money, 20 or 21, I can't remember what year that came to us. We've spent enough money that we were able to report all that money being spent. So that money is literally sitting in an account and growing.
Yes.
Do we have to use it entirely on the building? No. Do we use portion of it on the building and some of it on some other things?
It just has to be used by 2026.
Correct. And what we've done is enough that we've spent our money. Because we were.
On paper.
On paper, exactly. Yeah. So as far as the reporting and all that stuff, that's all
Right,
All
that's all
done.
taken care of.
Yeah.
When would this process start?
If,
If
if,
this was approved?
if we approve this, he'd probably start it within the next week or two and have it done probably within a week or two after that.
which is what we had originally, we were trying to do the whole project, I mean, the bids through the end of this month was originally, so we won't quite to do there, but we'll at least know exactly what it's gonna cost us.
Okay, we got a motion and we have support. Anything else? I'm just, my mind is kind of circling back and forth because I know that we've started this project years and years ago and we want to move forward with it. But there's some apprehension in my mind based on some of the things that we're going through and in the sewer situation and that type of thing. Not that any of those things would directly affect building a building, but I just have a little apprehension.
Well, anytime we're doing that, I think that with the sewer, to me, that's different because that's within itself.
True.
We're not gonna, that doesn't affect everyone in the township.
Right.
I mean, in overall, it does, but where the finances and who pays for it is through
The sewer.
the people who are using it or
Yeah.
are going to use it.
Well, I mean, we've been working on this for quite a while, so I appreciate the fact that we're making a motion and maybe we can come to a determining factor in the end and see where it goes. So anyway, let's do a roll call.
Bray,
Yes.
Loveland,
Yes.
Wyant,
Yes.
Renfro,
Yes.
Benarski Lynch,
No.
Harris, yes, Lizinski,
No. Motion carried. Okay, next thing is Scott, with the parks, did you have anything over and above to report there?
We are getting, the baseball and soccer. We got also from, Brent, not Brent, excuse me, Matt, gave us some information, some things that we are looking at. So we'll start working on those. Baseball, I have not heard back their date yet, but I know soccer, is gonna start in 2 weeks.
What's that date, Scott? Just,
I
well,
can tell
today's
you
the
later.
10th,
Offhand was,
the 20th-ish?
yeah,
Okay,
depending the weather, looks good. They won't, their first games won't start until next month sometime, but they'll start using,
okay.
so if, we'll get the bathrooms and that we can and all of that getting taken care of and making sure it's clean before this year. I don't know if those trucks are done.
That's why I asked, I'm gonna call, my contact at Consumers Power. And
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
seen them last month, last week or so. at
Okay,
all.
so maybe they are done, but,
I have a question about trucks. Because in the past, we've always had like a gentleman's agreement, if you will, that they would help to level off the parking
Yeah.
lot in return for parking the vehicles. Is that still going on?
the agreement was made, yes. We shall see, though.
Because that would be a rough parking lot.
Yeah,
I haven't driven in it since, started.
because I'm
It's
trying
too
to
late.
remember, I thought I saw him Sunday, but I could be wrong. Yeah,
And are you guys gonna work on trying to figure out a way to better park, like put some barrier up with some ropes and
some kids playing on Friday. And then they're also spreading it out through the whole Saturday to cut down it to be so. They were like, why are we doing it all at the same time? And so they started moving it this season already.
That's a good idea. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay. I asked Sabrina to come tonight regarding sewers. Her and I've been working on this project for 2 years or more. So I'd like her to give a quick presentation and then also answer any questions we can. Please.
There you go. Let's go back.
You can go back.
How does that go down?
Hang, if, we're gonna put you on hold, so we missed something.
So, I'm sorry, I put this on the bid as well, to do the electric, to fix the electric, and to do the electric to make it be able to, the gates work for the park.
Will that
For
be, will those gates be just soccer side?
Correct.
Okay.
We didn't do, baseball because it was covered in, it was snowing.
Sure.
We couldn't get there at the time. So I haven't asked him to do, to check that.
And this is all new line too, right?
Correct. And we have to redo where the meter is. The meter is not quite correct, is what he explained it. I don't understand the electric part. You guys, I know you talk to you, I don't touch that. That's not my area, ever. And, but we needed to do that as well, so.
So you want to offer this as a, to
for the
pay
park,
for
do
the,
$5,980.
correct. Yep.
Yeah,
Does that come from the park fund or ARPA?
it would come from the, I assume it would come to the park.
Yeah. And we're good with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll support that.
So we got motion, support. Further questions? Roll call.
Bray,
Yes.
Wyant,
Yes.
Loveland,
Yes.
Renfro,
Yes.
Benarski Lynch,
Yes.
Harris, yes, Lizinski.
Yes. Sorry about that.
No problem. That give me a chance to adjust, maybe. So I want to go back to and just clarify something that was said earlier regarding the misdigs. The misdig didn't cause the damage. Back in September or December, we're not sure which boring company did it, but a boring company went through the sewer main in Prairie Ridge. So that's what was getting fixed, and I've got pictures, that's all coming in. I'll get that documented, we'll figure out who did it, and we'll make them pay for it.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's, if anybody does see those things, make sure that if you see water, we'll go after them. It's not a problem. All right, so I'm gonna talk a little about the history of the sewer real quick. The current sewer system was built in the mid-90s, so we haven't had a sewer system very long. The collection system was designed for the village, the just 1 square mile that is the village. And it was designed before the development of Pinewood Drive, Meadows Court, Village Preserve, and the school expansions in the early 2000s. And these are all in the village. All of those that I just mentioned are developments inside the village. The current collection system is pushing 617 REUs for the village and 669 REUs for the township. An REU is 210 gallons per day per household. That's the unit that's calculated to do that, which means that our sewer system was built for our village. Actually not even built for that full 617 RUs that we're pushing, and yet have also taken on that 669 from the township as well. To say that we are over capacity is an understatement. It's more than double. Another example of that is the fact that the SRI contract for how much Leone would accept from that particular SRI line is 130,000 gallons per day. We're currently pushing, and that's equivalent to about 619 REUs. We're currently pushing closer to 270,000 gallons per day right now. Again, we are over capacity. Our pumps are running hard, and just like driving a car, when you run equipment too hard, too long, they break faster, they don't last as long, and maintenance is very, very expensive. Leone wastewater treatment plant is permitted for 3 million gallons per day. That is for 13 total communities. When we had a really large wet weather event early last July, they had to treat 4.7 million gallons of water. It wasn't wastewater that people were flushing down their toilets or washing machines or dishwashers. That was all due to I&I. I&I stands for inflow and infiltration. That is surface water and groundwater that is getting into the collection system. This is not what we're supposed to be treating. Those are supposed to be groundwater things. That means that we have issues with manholes, pipes, service lines. That means that there are sub pumps and basements that are collecting groundwater from groundwater coming up into basements, and they get that up and out. And it should be going not into the sewer system, but into yards and grassy areas where it can then be redistributed. Those sub pumps are also often used for newer builds in the last 20 years that have their downspouts connected. So they're collecting that instead of having their yards be wet and to deal with it. And that's all going out in the sewer system. It's not supposed to. The system's not made for that kind of water. Because of these problems, Eagle set a moratorium in 2020 and said, no more Part 41. That shut down, we know, the Winchester development at Norval. We know that shut down the additional Andover North development. And it's also shut down a lot of redevelopment issues inside the village as well, that we were limited. In order to fix these things, right? This is what we all keep talking about. What are we going to do? So the first thing that we're talking about is the village. I did apply an intent to apply with Eagle for SRF funding for both clean water and drinking water. I'll just talk about clean water today. That's the nice way of saying wastewater with Eagle. And by having starting that conversation with them, they were able to tell me that we're going to need to have 3 reports done just to apply for the SRF funding to be able to start fixing our things. We are going to have a report that says if there's an I&I problem, where the I&I problems are, and how the problems will be fixed. Because we're not just talking about the village now, we're talking about the whole system, because the township is connected to the system, so you're a part of this too. The current estimate I have from one engineering firm to do this is $110,000 just to do the studies that Eagle's gonna require for us to be able to apply for the funding. These are the exact same reports and studies that they're going to require in order for them to lift the Part 41. We have to prove that we don't have an I&I problem. So if we didn't have a capacity problem, we've got all the capacity in the world and we could bring on lots of new connections, we still would have to prove to Eagle that we don't have this inflow and infiltration problem, that our system is clean and it's solid, that it's not taking in all this extra water. So just for the studies, it's $110,000. I can tell you, we absolutely have an I&I problem. There's a ton of groundwater issues out there. The village recently managed the O&M to have 10 manholes lined. So we took all of our old manholes. We had a company come out and they blew in this beautiful liner coating in 10 of these. Every single one of them had ground flow water leaking into the manhole, which means now it's coming in from the ground and it's going in, which means our manholes. We have 100 of these. To do 10 cost us $26,000. We have lift stations that are going to need to have the same treatment done, and 90 more. That's just our manholes. That's not even the laterals. We've got several miles of sewer laterals out there that are going to need to be dealt with as well. So again, before we even start fixing the problem, though, it's $110,000 just to do the studies. So here's where we're at right now with all of that. Like I said, I'm in conversations with Eagle on what it's going to take to actually apply for funding to help pay for all of these things. Holland Engineering was hired a while ago to identify where we could build on capacity. From that study, we identified one that we thought would be the best, that would not just be what we do now to fix the moment, but long-term to fix the future as well and prepare for the future. So that hopefully in 20 years, we're not having this conversation at this level, at this urgency again. So now Holland Engineering has been hired to now that we have that one solution to give us, what's it's gonna cost to really do that one. It's not the end all be all from end to end, inch to inch engineering for this project. It's just the early preliminary study that this is an $8 million project to run that new line that would fix our capacity problem. Again, doesn't fix our INI, just fixes capacity. So we've got a long way to go and a lot of money we're gonna have to come up with. Just the first steps. So questions on sewer, now's a good time.
So it's a two-pronged problem.
The 110 already posted them.
No,
No.
I've just started, I don't like pointing out ducks in the air. I don't like to talk about them, so I got 3 in the pond, right? And they're at least kind of lined up. So I only have 1 duck right now, and I just have 1 quote. So before we start talking about who we're gonna go with, where we're gonna get the money for it, I need at least 2 more quotes before it's a real proposal.
But we at least have from Eagle what we have to provide in order to
Right, that's the exciting part, is we've been asking Eagle for 3 years, what do they really need? What format do they really need it in, et cetera? And by actually filling out the intent to apply, so I asked for money. That's what I did. I said, hey, I think we're gonna ask for money. And they said, ooh, let us tell you how to get it. And they told us. We having those conversations, and I've engaged, actually they pseudo volunteered a engineering firm, because that's the game, right? The engineering firm stands in and goes, we'll help you apply for the funding, in the hopes that we dance with the one that brought us. Yeah, so right now they're not charging us. They're just hoping.
I feel like it's important to, yes, we have to do the INI and Eagle Park, but we also need to be moving forward. But once that hurdle we're over that hurdle, then we need to be ready to move and be able to make sure that
The capacity, right? And it's like you said, it's 2-pronged. In order for us to apply for the funding to pay for the capacity building, we have to still do these INI studies. So whether we want the capacity or not, Eagle's not gonna give us Part 41s till we do it. We're locked into
If
these.
we know they're gonna fail, what's the next step?
Fix them. And there's gonna be a lot of remediation, like I mentioned. Lining the manholes is a really great way to go. We're gonna need to do a lot of scoping of lines to try to find where those problems are. We're gonna be doing, smoke testing is probably gonna be a thing. People are gonna be calling, well, we'll let you know when that's gonna happen, so people, because smoke's gonna be coming out of people's basements, and you're gonna go, oh, my basement. It's not, it'll be just us pushing smoke, because we gotta find them. We gotta find where those sump pumps are and where those holes are in yards. And the sewer main is a perfect example. We could have broken lines out there. We don't even know where they are. The line that was called in last night for the emergency misdig for the guys last night, that was broken back in September or December. And it sat idle, and nobody saw the water coming up because the ground's been frozen. We could have lines in wetlands that nobody's looking at that are broken right now and are just soaking up water, or on the other hand, also pushing water out, right? That we don't really want out there. It's gonna be a long, long road. It's not gonna be nobody's doing anything, so it doesn't seem like we're moving. We are. It's gonna take time. And it's gonna take good planning so that we're not fiscally irresponsible. And we don't drop a ball.
Now, next week, we should have an answer. We'll have a meeting with LRUA. We're putting in, or I should say Leone's putting in flow meters on the 5 main lines coming in. And that took in and of itself over 2 years to get that funding lined up. So we were hoping to get that in the ground last fall, but it didn't work out, and I don't know when. It's supposed to be happening soon now.
I think that we're scheduled to do that sometime. I think last Mike said was maybe late spring,
Yeah.
early summer is the hope.
Yeah.
And what the flow meters are gonna do, they're gonna measure all the flow on each line. So right now, Grass Lake Township and Grass Lake Village are sharing one line going to Leone. So it'll be at the end of that line, and they'll know how much we're really pushing. They'll know we're over our contract not a surprise, they already know. They're gonna know how much, and what they're gonna be able to watch is if there's a great big rain event and we push a lot more than what we usually do in dry weather, they're gonna be able to say, you got an I&I problem, huge I&I problem.
You know, and I would venture to guess we're contributing. I don't think we're the only contributor. I would
No.
think the main contributors probably would be the bigger systems and the older systems like Brooklyn and Leone Township. Um, But, I mean, we could be a major contributor. And we're just talking about the Grass Lake line. We haven't even started talking about the Napoleon Grass Lake line or the Sylvan Grass Lake line.
Right, because those are
So,
just the township
those-
around
yeah.
those.
So
Yep.
we have a lot to look forward to.
Yep, definitely a lot going on. And I'll just do my public plug, because hopefully we got a lot of people
Okay.
listening, and then I answer more questions if you got them. Just to raise $67,000 in a year for the connections for the village itself, just for those 617 people on the, or REUs for the village, it's almost $9 to raise that money per month per REU. So $8 million is gonna be a ton. If, whenever there's a break in the line, it's tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. We ask ever so kindly, please only flush what you're supposed to flush, because everything else causes damage. And the last big issue we had with the sewer pumps cost $120,000 just because somebody put an actual towel down the sewer system. So when people complain about rates, just make sure you're only flushing what you're supposed to. That's my commercial.
I just want to say thank you, because I can say that for the number of years that I've lived here, that the sewer wasn't seen as a business, like it wasn't run to the point where you could bank
Mhm.
to make
Mhm.
improvements down the road. So I appreciate all the efforts that you're putting in to try to make this better and to make it self-sufficient and fix all the things that need to be fixed. So
You're welcome. It's fun. Never knew. All right, cool.
Anything else? Yep. Okay. Thanks, Sabrina. Okay, next item is I gave you guys a comparison with the original offer that American Tower offered us. Either once, or one of the options is to get $350,000 upfront, all in one payment. And that would be the bottom part with the rate of return on investment about 3%. If we didn't touch the money for those 10 years, that $350,000, we gain about $100,000 there. But that would be not touching that money at all. The middle one that I have on the sheet is where we're currently at with the yearly increases of 3%, the contract that we hold today. And I just did that out 10 years as well, so we could compare apples to apples. And then the top one is paying $3,500 a month versus in this year's term, $1,600, so double. Collecting that for 10 years, and then at the end of that 10-year period, they'd have, a right of way to the property. And if we were to take that money, we would garner roughly around 422,000 in the end. What I did on the right-hand side was the monthly now and the monthly with payment in lieu. I kind of just broke it down to give us an idea if we adjusted the percentages for the whistle stop and then the park operation and then a legacy, to be able to build up a legacy account over the course of that 10-year period. So we'd have monies hopefully for any repairs or major situations that we have there. Now, this is just strictly numbers that we got today. That's without negotiating with them. I did talk to our auditors today and asked them their feeling. And they did have a county, a township, although it was a little bit different there. that they advised them to go ahead and take the upfront money and do it, but it was more money and a lot of different situations. And that was towards the end of the day. So I'm gonna talk to them a little bit more tomorrow and also try to find some supervisors that may have done this, or townships, I should say, not supervisors that have done this, to see what their thought is. You know, how many more years are we gonna have cell towers? I did ask somebody that does a lot of work with IT and whatnot. I didn't realize this, but I don't know if it's factual, but something he told me was that Starlink actually does bounce off of cell towers. And I thought that Starlink was basically direct to your machine. Guess not. Again, I don't know if it's true, gotta research it a little bit, but I thought, well, okay. Cause I was kind of thought, that how long are cell towers gonna be around? Yep. So, I mean, what does that do for us with this tower? I don't know. So, anyway, this is the information. I want to do a little bit more studying with people as to the pluses and minuses. And then probably at some point in time, start negotiating. The 350, or $350,000. Is it, could that be 400 and four and a quarter? Could the payment, monthly payment, instead of being 3,500, maybe it could be 4,200. So, we'll see. But if anybody finds anything on that subject matter while they're laying in bed on their computer at night and find something, let me know, because mine's gonna be mostly phone calls to try to figure it out.
So I know we talked a lot about, don't touch someone if they're curious. I don't know how realistic that is.
I don't think,
It isn't at all.
I don't think it's realistic, like, I don't that way, but maybe, if they're willing to give us, some number, I don't know. And maybe you could make it work, but, yeah. If we were to do something with them, I'd be more apt to do the 10 years in lieu of rent, the payment, because then we're able to three-prong it, where you'd still be bringing in more than enough money to do what we do for the whistle stop. It wouldn't pay for all of the cost of the park, but, 14, 15 grand a year, that would help a great deal. And being able to possibly save 25, 26, 27,000 a year, that towards legacy costs. And that's something that we just have to do. We've learned that lesson with sewers. We got $1 million investment out there. We got to start thinking of that. So, and we do it for the fire department, but we don't do it for anything else.
I have
So-
looked on what the costs are. It's how bad they need it. It's really what it is. The price to do the towers is all over. You can find through these, through people looking for them, they'll see a different price and another one that's 3 times the cost than another one. It's just how bad
That's
need
needed in
spot.
that area. Well, I just found it peculiar because 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I can't remember the last time we got an offer and it was half of what this was. Yeah, so, this kind of piqued my interest. I'm like, wow, really? So there's got to be something there, yeah. Well, and that's, quite frankly, it's a thought, who knows? Yeah, so please, try to help me do a little homework and we'll see where we get this Okay, next order of business is I'm up for reelection on the board of directors. I'm
Yep.
sorry, park manager. Thank you for keeping me straight. I would like to go ahead and make a motion to have Scott take over the duties as park manager for a stipend of $4,500 a year.
I'd like to step away from it.
You don't want to do it.
I want to, no,
Oh,
I want, I can't vote on it.
oh,
so I-
yeah, yeah, that, understand, I'm still, recuse yourself, okay.
I want to resign already.
Geez, haven't even got there.
I know.
But I would like to make that a motion, so if I could get support. Got a motion, support. Any questions?
Do I still get to be the sidekick? At meetings and stuff?
For sure. Okay, let's do a roll call.
You said 4,500.
$4,500 a year, and that'll be paid in 12 equal sums.
Lizinski,
Yes.
Benarski Lynch, Loveland,
Yes.
Wyant,
Yes.
Renfro, Harris, yes.
Okay, motion passed. Now,
I'll ask questions later in regards to, now that we're into
How to pay.
April, how exactly to pay that.
we'll prorate it,
Okay,
maybe. We'll talk about that.
all right.
All right. I'm up for my directorship for the Michigan Township Power Plan. And in order for me to represent our district on the board, I need to be made the member representative of Grass Lake Township. So we did this 2 years ago. If anybody would like to make, or to offer this resolution, I'd appreciate it.
I'll make the motion to appoint John Lizinski for member representative position.
I'll support.
Okay, we have motion support. Further questions? Roll call.
Benarski Lynch, Loveland,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Wyant,
Yes.
Renfro, Harris, yes. Lizinski,
Yes.
Just-
Okay,
Just a little little information. I think John has done a really good job in bringing information back to us, maybe not necessarily totally as a board, but at least within the office. And so,
it's
think
actually a
it's very,
pretty
very
good
good.
thing.
yes.
What do I want to say? Rubbing shoulders with others, I guess, is a good way to put it. Okay, next thing is our state of Michigan passed what they're calling the Earned Sick Time Act. We can kind of in a nutshell explain it to you if you haven't read it, but we do need to make it part of our policy to stay compliant with the state of Michigan. Essentially what it is for every 30 hours worked, an employee earns 1 hour of sick time. In our case, that is all of our employees other than those that are elected or appointed. So no board members on any of the, board of review or any of that, none of us, but it does include election workers, it includes firemen, cadets, and the people that work within the office here. We've set it up as a accrual system. They gave you two options. You could do it as a recrual or accrual, or as a front-loaded. We felt the accrual system worked best. There's the rules and whatnot that according to state law as it stands today, that's what we tailored our policy towards. it's the third page right now is what the state has passed and their summary of the ruling. So you can look at that as well. We will include it within our policies for now. And just so you know, for the past 3-4 months, we've been looking at our policies and procedures manuals and formulating a handbook. And we've been doing that through what is called HR Muni. And it's a company that our plan has a contract with, and they summarize that on a daily basis, make any changes, that type of thing. Very similar to those that remember the Lexipol that we got for the fire station. So I guess I would like to make a motion to accept this sick time and leave policy for our employees. So if I could have a motion to accept that, and then we'll go into questions if you have.
Basically, what we're doing is replacing our current sick
Yeah.
sick time.
Yeah.
Or the policy that states that, or however it works. I don't know.
Ours worked on a PTO basis.
Yes,
So what we did, we give X amount of hours based on years of service. For every hour worked, they billed so much vacation time. And then we gave 3 sick days a year and 2 personal days a year.
and that was based on how many hours per day they would normally work.
Correct.
And so, it
Yeah,
was-
so there's
and
quite a bit of math to it.
just for a little additional information, this took a lot of time within our payroll system. BSNA was able to set it up within our payroll system. Tammy spent hours and hours and hours getting that updated. As it started on February 21st, that was a wonderful date for the state to put it in as a beginning date. But with what the updates that BSNA did within our payroll system, it seemed to work very well, at least through the first payroll. So we know it's implemented, it's working. We will see how good it's working once we do payroll in April. But it's something, it's in place, we're just now redoing our sick time policy.
And
So-
along with that will come, we're looking at the PTO structure to try to figure that out. Because this earned sick time outweighs the hours that we were paying in the past. In some cases, it would outweigh what they currently had just in sick time to what they have built up now. So we're looking at all those things. Not that we want to take away from our employees, because we don't, but we also got to be fair. If one person that works part-time can take 7 or 8 weeks a month or a year off, that puts us in a bad situation, so. Did anybody make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
We got a motion and support. Further questions? Let's do a roll call.
Renfro,
Yes.
Wyant,
Yes.
Bray,
Yes.
Loveland,
Yes,
Benarski Lynch, Harris, yes, Lazinski.
Yes. Correct.
Okay, my turn.
Yep, your turn.
Is it on? I believe it is.
I think it is.
Okay. The report for February is in front of you. I also included a report on mutual aid given or received. It just so happened it was given, not received this last month. Scott was asking about that, so the last report towards the back gives you The 4 locations that we went to: North Forbes Street, Jackson, Brown Drive in Chelsea, Probert Road in it'd be Summit Township, but Jackson address. And then Laredo Drive, which is in Henrietta Township. That's off of Hawkins Road. If anybody is familiar with that location. They were all working structure fires. Probert Road was, and if anybody's familiar with Probert Road, a lot of large homes on Probert Road. My guys alone put 7 hours in that fire, and that was time of our dispatch till we got cleaned up. And we didn't get a call for an hour and a half after that fire started. We were an hour and a half behind. They just couldn't get a handle on it. And so they needed fresh bodies. Didn't need our water, needed our, firefighters. So I also listed on the front of the cover sheet the departments also. Any questions on the rest of it?
Any questions, thoughts? Thank you, Greg.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay, 3 minutes for anybody that would like to address the board.
Good evening, George McKenzie, 9838 Avenue. We're still working on the solar ordinance. Everybody working on that. A couple things just to think about it. We want to, tough thing everybody's working on, they're all working through, but I've heard a lot of discussion around we need a workable ordinance and then how's workable defined. I don't think we can work with a neck there on what a workable ordinance means, because then in energy or consumers or someone comes, they go, not workable for us, so it's not workable. It needs to be what's right for the township. And, they're not itching to jump right in here and go through stuff. I'm not sure why, because if you look at our existing ordinance, probably Creo pretty much are in line with the state or less restrictive than the state. So, we need to adopt the ordinance that's right for us, not what next Arizona wants. That's what we really need you guys to do for us, for all of us township. And, I know there's been a lot of talk, I thought about over the last, just going on 2 years now. There's been a lot of people that are, hey, landowner's got rights next to use the land. I thought about this a little bit the other day. The township decided we can't have marijuana here. I can't put a marijuana facility on my site, bringing a lot of tax revenue for the city, for the township. So we decided as a township not to do that. So that's a right I don't have, but do it to stay. I do down a long list of the churches out there, stuff that you can put out in that area, different churches there. Oh, sorry. Better?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all right. There's a whole long list of stuff that you can't even put out by the church, or a lot of us can't even put in that area, that I don't want out there, but as a landowner, I still can't do those things. So this idea that everybody's being denied their land rights somehow, we need to set that aside. So I just wanted to bring that up as you're thinking this through. And again, we're here to help, but thank you.
Thanks, George. Anyone else?
Dan O'Dale, 3450 Sager. I came across an idea recently that I thought was really interesting in the, within the sense of a solar collection. I came across a posting, and I can't remember if it was on YouTube or if it was on Facebook, but in South Korea, they're putting their solar right down the middle of the freeway median. And they've created an arch with panels, and underneath the panels is a thoroughfare for pedestrians or bicyclists. And I wanted to throw that out there, the idea with the use of land. I mean, if you next time you drive down I-94, what's being used in the middle of that freeway? Not much. So I just thought I'd throw that idea out there.
Thanks, Dale. Before, before we start talking, what happened? What's wrong with your shoulder? Is that, did you have your shoulder done? Okay, I just, inquiring minds. Yeah. Okay. Up towards you, the button. Well, now it's off. We're preventing you. Which I've never seen that before. Have you ever seen that?
Hello. Hello. Is that better?
Are we gonna blow up?
Okay, now you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to echo George's comments on the solar. What I guess I don't understand is that we've already had recommendation, or the board has, from the Planning Commission saying no to rezoning, from Jackson County as well, but there's never been a vote here. I don't understand why not.
I'm typically don't answer that.
Okay.
They withdrew their request for rezoning.
But we had a chance to vote on that before they withdrew it, and we didn't vote.
There
on it.
was a pretty good deal for us for them to withdraw. They'd
As
have
long as they don't.
For rezoning, they'd have to go through the whole
But are they
process.
reapplying for, why are we still talking about solar then? If they pulled that, are they reapplying?
We'll see where it goes.
Okay.
We'll see where it goes.
I guess I still don't understand why it wasn't voted on after 2 recommendations.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
I had a question. Amy Elliott Coker, I live with him, 10255 Lee Road. About the solar, one thing that I am really concerned about, because we live in the fence line area, you've got about 100 people in that area. What happens when there's a significant fire event in that solar area, and you don't have adequate evacuation plans in place? The human cost is one thing, but the cost of having those types of events, and how are we going to prepare for that? I mean, we've seen what happens to solar fields, utility-sized solar fields of a fire, and I'm worried. I'm really pretty darn scared about it, frankly. I don't think we have the proper support system in place in order to take care and protect our citizens that live around that area.
Okay, thanks, Amy. Anybody else? Going once. Going twice. Motion to adjourn?
I'll support.
Motion support. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Thank you.